Hey guys, so today's going to be a fun video. We're going to look at the 11.5-inch, 12-inch Rubius doll. Now, for those who don't know, back in 1997, Irwin Toys actually released a line of Sailor Moon villain dolls. I think I mentioned this a little bit in my last Collection Earth review when I talked about the Wicked Lady dolls. Well, they actually released a few others as well. Matter of fact, they even tell us about a few of them on the back of the box. So, aside from Queen Beryl, the first villains after her that they released were Black Lady, or Wicked Lady, if we're going to use the Deke name, Rubius, Prince Diamond, or Prince Demande, if you're following the Viz dub, and Emerald, or Esmeralda. And then the other two villain dolls that they would later release would be Professor Tomoe and Kaori, or Kaolinite, depending on, again, which dub you're listening to. This is pretty landmark because, like I said, I think in my last video, there were no villain dolls that came out in Japan outside of the Amazonas Quartet. None. And then in Germany, they had a Queen Beryl doll, and then that's it. So, for the entirety of the rest of the planet, North American market, we were the only ones to receive any other villain dolls. So that's why the Irwin toy line is so important. You know, like I said before, a lot of people, they kind of crap on the early Irwin toys because of the face molds, but just knowing that this was the only company to give us villain dolls and respect the superhero aspect of Sailor Moon, I think is more than worth their footnote in history. They're more than a footnote in history, I should say. Now you might be wondering, well, what's with the box? Well, this is all my fault. I got Rubeus years and years and years and years and years ago from my favorite seller in Canada, Lisa Nassy-Harrison, who I mentioned about 2 reviews ago with the Sailor Chibi Moon doll. She sent me Rubius in perfect condition, and then I moved, and then I moved again, and then I moved again, and the last 2 times I moved, I had him in a different box, and the box that I bought was faulty, and it got crushed in the truck. Luckily, I was able to save everything inside, but the box did get damaged, so this is 100% my fault. Nobody else is responsible for this. This is all my fault for not packing him correctly. Now, before we get the box open, I do want to talk a couple of things about him here. You may notice that half the box is in French and half of it is in English. Pardon me. And you might be wondering, well, why is that? Well, the reason why is because Canada got a lot of these dolls before the American market. See, in America, not very many stores were picking up Sailor Moon dolls by 1997, even though Sailor Moon was already on Toonami by this point. So, for a lot of the dolls, they had their debut in Canada. Canada, you could find all kinds of Sailor Moon stuff. When it came to America, some states never got anything. I know for a fact that where I was at the time that this doll came out, you could barely find anything. Like KB Toys and Toys R Us, they were the only 2 stores that consistently had Sailor Moon stuff, and they never got Rubius. So for collectors like me, the internet has been the only way we've been able to get any of these dolls. Now with Canada, most of the country speaks English, but there are parts that speak French. So they were kind enough at Irwin to say, screw it, we're going to put French text and English text on the box so everybody gets a turn to enjoy, which I think is really nice of them. We have the Sailor Moon logo with a little tiny picture of Usagi or Serena on there. All the legal stuff they put at the bottom of the box by this point. By this point, they were changing up the boxes. They were no longer doing like the trading cards on the back of the boxes. That was just for the first run of dolls. And here they had taken out the line about Serena being in high school, because somebody actually watched the show and was like, no, she's in Japan, she's in middle school, not high school. So they just said screw it, and they just said average school girls here instead of high school girls. So yeah, by this point, they're not showing the other dolls on the box. They're just giving you some stock anime pictures of everybody that they have slapdash just photoshopped together. No more trading cards, so this is what you get. So that's how they did the boxes for the second wave. And I will point out in Error 2, they always call this one Prince Darian, but it should be King Darian, or if we're going to be correct, King Endymion, because this isn't his prince outfit, this is when he's king in Crystal Tokyo. But I guess the lavender tuxedo was a lot easier to sew together than whatever the hell Prince Endymion was wearing, so they just went in the middle on this one. So now you've got a little bit of Sailor Moon history there. And I'm going to get this box open, and as you guys already know, I usually do jump cuts so that you guys don't hear the rustling of the packaging. So let's go with a jump cut. Okay, so I've almost got him out of the box, and there's one more thing that I'm going to point out, and that is he does not come with a stand. At this stage, Irwin was transitioning a lot of their dolls, so some of them were coming with stands and some of them were not. Typically speaking, a few of the 11.5-inch variety were coming with stands. Rubius is not one of them, because the lesson here, boys and girls, don't be evil, and you get a stand. And I'll show you the box here. It's got little tiny faint pink moons on a rainbow gradient. I always thought that was nice. They had moved away from the pink boxes by this point, and they'd gone with rainbows. So that's an interesting little feature. Now we're going to look at Rubius. And like I said earlier, although when you look for him on eBay, it's going to come up that he's 11.5 inches, he's actually 12 inches. So he corresponds with a Ken doll, if you're into Barbie collecting. So his hair, I'm going to bring the box back a second here. There we go. As you can see, they did have to make a little change with the hair. In the anime and in the manga, his hair usually stands straight up. Well, they couldn't really figure out how to do that, so they just gave him a red afro. This is kind of what Irwin and Bandai both did with a lot of dolls that had short hair. Rather than cut the hair the way we see it in the anime, well, a lot of the dolls, they either get like this little mini bob all the way down to here, or you get an afro. They decided he's a boy, so the mini bob wouldn't look right on him, so we'll give him an afro and hope that somebody out there will find the doll and comb his hair straight up. And I've had other Irwin dolls that have the same little bubble cut. You can't comb them straight up. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could dip his head in boiling water and then put some hair gel through it, but I don't recommend that because hair gel does damage dolls. So I'll just keep him with the afro, it's fine. He'll just have a little, redhead Phyllis Diller thing going on. So now we're going to look at the face, and he is just so calm and happy in his evilness. He's been chasing Chibiusa across timelines. He's confident he's going to kidnap her. His group have decimated the 30th century. He's just having a nice, chill day. And he's supposed to have his black poison crystal earrings, but just like with Wicked Lady, they just gave him straight yellow earrings. And again, these are the earrings they also reused for the Princess Serenity doll, which I thought that was kind of odd. His little compass is on a brown cord. It's a brown string. And you gotta be careful with the string, and I'll explain why momentarily. They didn't really do any decoration with his compass, so it's just a white medallion. His vest is kind of sewn together, so you can't really take it off without clipping this, but, peekaboo, there he is. Now you've seen him. His arms move just forwards and backwards, because that's kind of standard for Irwin dolls at this point. He's got his green balloon pants. He actually does have very well-defined boots. Wonder why there's dust there. Huh. Well, I'll wipe that off. That's fine. It's just a little dust. Probably from the packaging and from all the moving that we did. I did notice that there was a hole in the box because of my blunder, so probably that's how the dust got in. There's his copyright on the back there, and oh wow, Haynes his way, I guess. Now, uh-oh, we already lost his charm. There we are. How'd that happen? It's a good magic trick. Can we get that out of there? There we go. All better. Well, they actually sewed that down, too. That's actually a good thing. And here's why. This is not the only Rubius doll in the world. I'm just going to have him take a seat here. Wow, his legs go all the way out. That's good to know that the boy dolls and the girl dolls from this line do the same thing. Okay, so this is the 6-inch, or rather 7-inch Rubius doll, also from Irwin, also from 1999. And you might be wondering, how come his thing is on a black cord instead of a brown cord? Well, he did originally have the same brown cord as the 12-inch doll, but it kind of disintegrated. So I grabbed whatever was in my sewing kit, and I gave him a black cord since that's a little bit more show accurate anyway, and that's why it's on a black cord. So fully intact Rubius dolls usually have this on the brown cord. You're not really taking his vest off without scissors. Sort of the same build as the 12-inch variety there. Again, arms move forwards and backwards. We have a little afro. The head is different, though. I mean, here, he's definitely wicked. He's evil. He's got an evil look on his face, and he is just thinking of bad stuff. They also gave him, like, dark blue earrings for some reason, like little dark blue studs. I don't know what that's about. Similar pants. This time the boots are molded on. They're pretty good. And they even put the copyright on the same part. Now this Rubius has a more interesting story to him. I got him when I was 14. I used to go to this comic book store that's not around anymore in Calumet City. And the day that I got him, he was peeking out of the back room. And he had a price sticker on him. They were getting ready to sell him, but for some reason they didn't want to sell him to me. So I took the doll from where I saw him, and I put him on the shelf. I mean, on the counter. And I pulled out my wallet full of cash from my babysitting job, and I pulled the cash out so I could buy him, and they called the cops on me. Why? Well, you stuck your hand in the back room, so we're going to treat you like you were stealing. And I'm like, how am I stealing if I'm handing you cash for the doll? And my mom got involved, and the police, of course, did not arrest me because I was purchasing the doll, and I had more than enough to cover the doll, and it was my own money. And the funny thing is, the same day that these people were accosting me, these two teenage boys that were behind me in line, they were stealing a Superman statue. They made it all the way down to the subway with the 6-foot Superman before the other police officer showed up to catch them. So it's crazy to think that at 14, I almost went to jail for buying this doll with legal United States currency. It's just wild, but I thought I would tell that story. And yeah, I was profiled. You might be shocked about that one. They said I fit a profile. And I'm like, are you guys kidding? My mom's been coming to this comic book store since before I was born. So now you know a little story about my background there. Oh, he sits the same way. Look at that. And there we have it. So these are the not only my two Rubius dolls, they are the only type of Rubius dolls you will ever see anywhere. Like I said earlier, Irwin, they were the only people to do Rubius dolls. Nobody else so far has done Rubius dolls, which I think is crazy because he's a very major villain in the old anime. Like, we see him for a short while in Sailor Moon Crystal, and he kind of fades into the background a bit, but man, in the original 90s anime in Sailor Moon R, he is like one of Chibiusa's worst nightmares. So you'd think there'd be a lot more merchandise for just a well-crafted villain. But for some reason, this is all we got. And one more thing, too. You guys probably noticed on Moon Sisters, I have been following, like, canceled prototypes and such. Well, here's an interesting thing. He's got holes on the bottoms of his feet. I suspect that there was supposed to be another accessory, and maybe we just never got it. They almost fit with the little spinner stand that I showed you that one Sailor Chibi Moon doll has. So I'm wondering what else was planned. Could we have gotten an evil fortress? Could we have gotten another castle, or maybe some other type of place set where those holes would have been necessary? It's really fascinating to think we could have gotten so much more. But I guess that's a story for another day. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you soon.